Greetings ladies and gentlemen, today I've got something special for all of you. Development studio PLAYWITH Interactive recently reached out to me and offered me the chance to give one of their intellectual properties, Warlords Awakening, a try, and after spending some quality time with the game, I felt like sharing my thoughts and experiences with all of you. This video is sponsored by PLAYWITH Inc, but rest assured, all the views and opinions put forth regarding Warlords Awakening are my own and serve as a reflection of my feelings towards the game. Though if you are interested in playing it, you can find a link to its Steam page in the description, and until the 17th of September, the base game is 25% off. So, Warlords Awakening. What is it? Well, to be blunt, it's an MMO real-time action-adventure RPG, harboring a setup very typical of this particular genre, with a top-down perspective, command hotkeys, real-time action, and so on. The narrative of this game takes place in the land of Ephia, where a once ancient evil that disappeared long ago has returned to the world and is slowly corrupting everyone and everything in it, with the main goal being to cure the land and banish this menace for good, all of which is achieved by accepting quests from various NPCs that have you scouring the globe and ridding monsters that plague both it and its inhabitants, along with tackling dungeons and taking on formidable bosses at the very end. A rather traditional premise, I'll admit, but it serves its purpose and works just fine. Right from the get-go, the game presents the player with 5 different classes to pick from: Blood Knight, Mage, Psychic, Hunter, and Assassin, along with multiple races for the user to assign, with each containing their own skills and styles of gameplay. In fact, every class is assigned 3 weapons/stances, which can be switched out at any time in order to alter one's battle properties. In addition, all stances host their very own skill tree, which I must say was a big highlight for me, as it kept the action feeling fresh, and I perceived there to be a conspicuous difference between each class. Plus, they all possess the ability to temporarily become an elite lord once their meter is filled by pulling off large combos. That results in a significant power boost, so I personally encourage players to experiment and see who they end up liking the most. I myself became very attached to the Blood Knight. Care to guess why? Thanks to this, I found myself fighting various foes a lot just for fun, and Warlords Awakening, from my experience, was strenuously generous concerning item drops that rewarded me with a wide range of weapons and gear on a regular basis, furthering my motivation to battle as many enemies and complete as many quests as possible for all that sweet loot, consequently invigorating me with a constant sense of progression and achievement. Plus, the game allows the user to deploy a pet for battle or as a means of transport. I got a bear as my first hatch, and there's an option to have a giant teddy carry me from point A to point B. That's an automatic win! As an individual who rarely partakes in the act of playing an MMORPG, I must say Warlords Awakening was very easy to get into. The game frequently pointed me in the right direction, and many of the early quests were considerably easy to understand and complete, getting more complex the further I went along. In addition, there were various features present that streamlined the experience, so if you're unfamiliar with these kinds of games like myself, you can rest assured that Warlords has you covered, though I can't speak on behalf of experienced players as to whether or not the game did too much hand-holding. As you venture through the world of Warlords, your character will gain levels and unlock new abilities and areas to explore. However, level 25 is the real turning point, as this is where large chunks of the game open up for the player and allow influencers to join 4-player dungeons, and I personally don't feel like this takes very long, 10 or so hours on average, as the level scaling in this game is done rather well in my opinion. At first it happens quickly, but gradually slows down as the level requirements get higher. Simultaneously, so do the frequency of enemies and quests, so the speed in which levels are gained remains relatively consistent and help to keep me infused throughout, as I never once had to stop and grind to the point where I was just about capable of tackling the area ahead, nor was I overpowered to the point where I could turn off my brain and be just fine. This ties into the game's difficulty, which I found to be a nice middle ground between easy and challenging. As though there are plenty of battle options available to overcome each obstacle and the enemies aren't too tough, the game will regularly throw a lot of them in your direction, and if you're not careful, it's very easy to be quickly overwhelmed and watch your health drop like a rock, so I would prioritize picking your battles carefully. After all, there's no I in team, which is good as this game can be played with friends and makes for a very fun time when questing together or partaking in PvP modes. Plus, Warlords hosts real-time action, which helps make Ephia feel much more alive and vibrant. During my time with Warlords Awakening, I decided to do a little digging and discovered that this isn't the first MMO PLAYWITH Studios have created, as beforehand they were responsible for the game Elite Lords of Alliance, and after doing some research, I learned about some major differences between it and Warlords, first and foremost being that character growth is substantially faster, which means a lot less grinding and monotony. The business model is no longer pay to win, as though Warlords does contain in-game purchases, the shop doesn't modulate a time-relevant system, and all of these items can be found in-game without becoming determining factors as to whether or not the game can be completed. And finally, the developers have been much more active with their community, having forums, Discord servers and their official website being used as a way to interact with their player base and listen to feedback along with keeping everyone updated with all kinds of news. So it's clear that PLAYWITH will focus on making a far more enjoyable and user-friendly experience, and if the end product is any evidence, I think they've learned their lesson. One point of observation I'd like to address are the game's visuals, as I love the art style of Warlords Awakening. Though the character models don't have the highest number of polygons, the designs of them are brilliant, having a nice mix of cute chippiness, is that even a word? And an over-the-top edge factor to make the world and characters feel unique, especially with the large amounts of customization options. I spent an entire hour messing around with that thing, it was so good. The environments too are gorgeous, and whoever did the lighting and coloration should get a gold medal, as they go hand in hand at creating a mystical and dark atmosphere that I simply adore. The music too is rather pleasant, as though I felt the number of memorable tracks was lacking, most of the score has a greater focus on ambience, and I think it works. Overall, I really enjoyed this game. As a man who's very unfamiliar with the MMO genre, Warlords Awakening was a great stepping stone for me, and I found myself putting much more time into the game than I initially thought. Granted, it's not perfect as the startup load screen takes a while, and on occasion the quests feel like a bad case of back and forth, but in the end I had such a pleasant experience that I can see myself investing even more hours into Warlords in the near future. And while I'm not sure as to how seasoned players would react, I personally would highly recommend this game to those who are interested in trying out MMOs, which once again you can find in the video description with a link to the Steam page, and is 25% off for a limited time at £6.96, which is roughly $8.99. I want to personally thank PLAYWITH Interactive for sponsoring this video and for offering me the chance to try out their IP, and I congratulate every one of the team for all the effort that went into Warlords Awakening. Before I go, I'd like to say a huge thank you to all my wonderful patrons that help support the channel and make these videos possible. You people are the absolute best. And shoutouts go to Nate Perkins, Chaos Saberleye, Karen Childhurry, Samuel Line, Justin Konovich, Vanessa Westfall, Vincent Clark, Midnight Castle, Patanko Fan 32, Maggie Fall, Almond, Jeremy Redinger, The Main Idea, Perfect Oblivion, and Feralin Ape 392. I love you all so much, and thank you for your constant love and support. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you all next time.